Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited because it's Paycheck Day and I'm closing out Paycheck 2 and I'm setting up Paycheck 3. So if you're interested in a paycheck to paycheck video and budget videos, you've come to the right place. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and like this video, and that way we can get more people in the community checking out these videos and going into learning about budgeting. I love helping with people with budgeting, and if you have questions or comments, you can put them in the comment section below. I use my actual budget or actual numbers. Not much is hidden between what I write here and what is actually going on in our life. So the only difference is we don't show the entire paycheck stuff. So that's the only difference. But yeah, I'm ready to dive in, close out Paycheck 2, see what I'm balancing forward into Paycheck 3. I already know what the number is as far as what my bank account says and what the new deposit coming up is, and that's what we're going to work on today. So I'm going to pop these pages out of my notebook and we're going to get started. Okay, I am back. So I already have the numbers down from previous time. I actually had to rewrite this. I've already filmed this once and messed it all up, and so this is take 2 for you guys. Hopefully this will go a lot smoother. And oh, I want to say welcome to everybody that is a subscriber. I am so thankful for all the new subscribers I have on this channel, and have enjoying to getting to know you and meet you in the comments. So or email or however you communicate with me. So let's go ahead and dive into what we have. So I have the budgeted amount, and that was taken care of earlier this month, and these are all the numbers. Anytime I have anything that shows up after the budget amount, I mark 0 here, and then I put the actuals over here. So even if this fluctuates or if there's a difference like there is here in the Visa subscriptions, those differences are easy to track on an actual column alongside the budgeted, which is why I don't separate my bills and expenses variable and fixed. I always just kind of list them out and put them all together, and that seems to work well for me and how I budget. So, but what I have here is the balance forward, what my husband actually got paid, which is $1,416.66 more than what he typically gets paid, and then the child tax credit that got deposited. So we're going to total these 3 numbers up. We're going to see what what I had been working with that did get deposited, and what is left over to go forward into Paycheck 3. So we have $1,172.18. plus the $3,729.88 and $250. So that gives us a total of $5,152.06. There we go. So if you take these 2 numbers and subtract them, you get the overage that you get over here. So that is $1,416.60. And there we go. So that closes out the income section of our Paycheck 2. Now that we know exactly what we're working with, I need to know actual numbers for our spending categories. So these are just my bills and expenses. So these lines represent the fact that the bill did not change. There was no over, there was no under, it was the same. Except for this one, there was a little bit of fluctuation here. I didn't spend as much as I thought I would, and pay off my Visa for the month of October and close out the month, basically. I do use a Visa credit card for subscriptions and just kind of put everything on there that's reoccurring, and then I pay it once at the end of the month, which is working very well now that I've gotten used to it. And so I do that, and then sometimes I add extra things and then pay it off later. But I do pay it off every month or the first of the next month. I try not to go too long with it carrying over, but I do keep it paid off and paid down as frequently as possible. So, grocery household. So I did give myself a budget of $495.75. I have a list off to the side of my notes for week 3 and week 4 of my weekly check-in is where I'm getting these numbers from on how much I actually spent in each of these categories. So I add them together and I get $315.52 for grocery household actual spent. So we were under budget, which is nice. $495.75, is that what it says? Yeah, minus the $315.52. That gives us $180.23. Now this is going to balance forward to Paycheck 3 because Paycheck 3 comes in on October 29th. And because it's so close to the end of the month, and it's one of those, the third salary check of the month, which we typically don't get 3 salary checks. We typically only get 2. It's a check that really doesn't have a lot of bills. We do tithe it and things like that, but we do not, we don't typically have to pay any bills. We typically don't get that third check, so that all that money, after tithing and other expenses, we can just save as much as we can of that. So that's what we're going to be figuring out today. Let's see. The next thing I am going to put in here is the restaurant. So my husband has been gone traveling on business, and we spent a total in 2 weeks $167 in restaurants. I normally budget $650 a month because he likes to go out to eat. I like to go out to eat. The kids like pizza night on Fridays, and we do social activities and stuff like that. So, yeah, and it's a really high, and I've not been able to keep it under budget until recently, and which means there's a lifestyle change happening. I was diagnosed type 2 diabetic, so now I have to focus on that. And so I was afraid to go out to eat the whole time he was gone. And he knows about it, so when he comes back, he and I will be working on this category quite a bit on reducing it and finding healthy options as much as possible when we do go out to eat. So I just didn't spend a whole lot. I just thought, well, if that money's not going to get spent, we'll just leave it in the buffer of the checking account moving forward into November, and that should be good for us. So let's see, $584.41 minus the 101.67, and that gave us $482.74. So that's quite a bit of money there, and that'll last us because Paycheck 3 is on the 29th. It's only 3 days until the end of the month, and then my husband gets paid again on the 1st of the month with government checks that start all over again. He is retired Navy, so he gets a retirement check and VA disability check, so that always happens right on the 1st of every month. And I actually see those pending deposits coming too, so all at the same time. So here we go. Miscellaneous, I did spend $198.44 for this paycheck period. So let's total that up. It's $366.64 minus the $198.44. And that gives us $168.20. There we go. And then gasoline was $124.79, and I had $187.82 minus the $124.79. Gives us $63.03. So now I have all my spending, what I actually spent for entire Paycheck 2. Which I forgot what the dates were, but it was 2 full weeks of spending and bills and all the things that came out, so that worked. I did have to add Eric travel expense. My husband's paid for his meals while he was gone. That will get reimbursed to us. I thought about pulling it out of savings, but I think I'm just going to leave it there, and then when my husband gets paid next salary check, or maybe this salary check that's coming tomorrow, I'll just keep the $250 in the checking account, and then we don't have to move money around. So I think that I might do that. I do keep money in savings in case I have to move money around, but I don't always have to. And the less I move money around, the better. So we will be figuring that out in a little bit. And then I gave my husband's cousin, the Lakey Mama, a gift of $200 to buy she sells lactation cookies, and that's why she's called the Leaky Mama, to women who are nursing moms. And so in order for her to do giveaways and stuff, I always, past couple of years, we've been giving her money for 2 different giveaways. So she's going to take those cookies and she's going to give away and do special giveaways with some mamas out there. So we're excited about that. And we love helping people like that. It warms my heart, and I just love it. So here we are. Let's total these numbers up and see what our totals are, and then we'll take our total amount minus our total income minus our expenses, and then get our balance forward for paycheck 3. So I will be right back. Okay, so we have a total of $3,143.84. And I'm going to take that number and I'm going to make it a negative. And then I'm going to hit the plus sign down here. And then I'm going to add this total amount right here, which is $5,152.06. And that is going to give me the exact number that I know I have in my checking account. I went ahead and went online and checked what the actual cash was in the checking account for the balance. So $2,008.22, which is pretty substantial considering I didn't think I was going to have that amount of money, which means I really did not spend as much. And the only areas I really saved was my spending. And I knew I was going to save some, but I didn't know it was going to be like $2,000 some, which is pretty awesome. I just was like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. So I'm not going to worry about this column over and under. I just like tracking it like a sidebar on the side. So where things were different and were expected and unexpected. So yeah, I think this turned out really, really well. So that closes paycheck 2 out. And we're going to move on to paycheck 3. So I have to grab that sheet real quick. I have it behind me here. There we go. And we're going to set this one up. So obviously this number here is going to be our new beginning balance. I can see the pending deposit for my husband's paycheck. It's not just a salary paycheck, it is an overtime salary paycheck. So he gets his regular salary pay and he gets overtime pay. So let's go ahead and put this number here, and then I'll put that other number down. I'm going to put it budget and actual, just because I already know the numbers. If you don't know the numbers, that's when you put an estimate amount and you estimate at the lowest end possible and still be able to cover your bills. But if you have more, then you can see the actuals later. You may call it rollover. Sometimes I refer to it as the buffer. This is the buffer of the checking account. This is what's sitting in the checking account. The only assignment that these dollars have is to sit there and do nothing until I tell it to do something else. So I balance forward from paycheck to paycheck, from month to month, a certain amount of money that's sitting in the checking account. And it's good to have a little bit of buffer room in there in order to cover a surprise auto draft that you forgot about, or didn't realize you signed up for sometimes, things that happen, to kind of cover yourself so that you don't have insufficient funds and things like that. So balance forward is $2,008.22. And I'm just going to write that as the actual too. So, and that's usually what I do unless it's the beginning of the month and I'm just kind of guessing everything. All right, so that doesn't change. And then my husband's salary and overtime. Now, I would normally, if I didn't know what it was, I would put the minimum amount of salary he would get, which is $2,313.28. It's after taxes, that's after Roth, 401k is taken out, and all these other things. But because right now I know the pending deposit, I can put the actual amount in. So because it is overtime as well as the salary check, it is a whopping $4,849.79. It's a good substantial amount, but he has been gone, and he only gets overtime when he is traveling on business and gone. It's part of the contract agreement, and it's in the contract to pay him that. So I'm pretty excited about that. I have no expectations of any extra income coming in. 4979. Now, if this was a normal paycheck, if he did get well, what I'm trying to say is, how much more is this than our regular paycheck? So $4,849.79 minus his actual salary. So the overtime amount he's actually got, the salary is $2,313.28. He actually brought home an extra $2,536.51. Now, this is not common. It doesn't happen all the time, but when he does, it's really, really nice. Last paycheck, last time he brought $1,400 in overtime. And now he has this, actually this amount in overtime. And then the rest of it's salary. So yeah, it's nice when you can get some extra money like that. Most of this, the goals for it are going to be emergency fund and home improvement. So what I'm going to do is do the total here, and we'll know exactly what we're budgeting for. $2,822 plus the $4,849.79. There we go. We have $6,858.01. And write that twice. Well, I didn't have to write this one. I could have waited on this, but I'm pretty sure in the next 3 days, we're not going to get any more money in or any other income coming in. So we're good to go there. And then what I have here, there are no real bills, but we do tithe. And so I'm going to get this information, 4849. And then one of our other charities is going to get the overtime tithing, which is $175. There we go. That's what we're doing there. And that's going to be Greater Europe Missions. We support a family in missionary work, and so we want to make sure they stay well funded. So we're going to give an extra gift of $175 there, and that'll tithe all the income from salary and overtime. And that's just how we do things. We didn't always do this. We actually started out tithing very low, but God has been so good and gracious over the years that we have extra income, and he kind of guides us. And a lot of times we pray and plan these things out as far as where giving is going to go throughout the year. Just like with my husband's cousin, I'm like, okay, what do we want to do there? What do we want to do this and that? So we pre-plan a lot of this, especially if we know extra income's coming in and we knew this was coming. If the income didn't come in, then we wouldn't have done this. But because we knew it came in, then yeah, we went ahead and made that decision. So I can go ahead and put that down. So I have the tithing, I have the Greater Europe Missions, and then I'm going to just go ahead and start our spending categories. Grocery, household, restaurants, miscellaneous, and gasoline. Did not do that right. I did not mean to smear. I just printed this sheet off because I had to reprint. And when you get a fresh sheet, don't erase. All right, now we're good. All right, so I might wipe that out later. Okay, so these are my spending categories. So I'm going to take what I had in Paycheck 2 as my balances here that were left over. And I'm going to roll those over into Paycheck 3 and use that as a buffer in a checking account, which is our spending categories. So I want to take these numbers out of the budget and use what's left to separate how much we're going to put into savings and how much we're going to put into for emergency fund savings, and then how much we're going to put into home improvement savings. So we need some home improvements done, and we're going to be calling a contractor soon. So I'm just going to put a little bit of money aside for that out of this. 180, 23, 482, 74. You know, I have second thoughts about this. This is what I had. And these are really high numbers. I mean, for the last 3 days. I do want to buffer in the checking account. So maybe I can just total these up. 482, 74, 168, 20, and 6303. And what I want to do is I only want to keep $600 in the checking account. So I'm going to subtract $600. There we go. So I need to take out one of these categories, and it's going to be the restaurant one. I'm going to take out the $294.20 away from that in order to lower this to an even $600 between all 4 categories. I didn't do that in a weekly check-in. I'm going to go back and change those numbers, and you'll see that later. This eraser's not doing very well. I'm smearing really bad, and that's okay. Let's see, I got some white out here somewhere. But there we go. I hate using white out, but it seemed necessary. So I'm going to change the restaurant amount because obviously I don't need that much, and we're not going to spend all that this weekend. And I really, 600 is enough as a buffer in a checking account for us. So I want to put this back into available savings from our spending categories, and then leave the rest in the checking account. So I'm going to take this number, I'm going to make it negative. I'm going to add the 482.74. There we go. So I'm only giving myself $188.54, which is a lot more reasonable for a Halloween weekend. Am I still on camera? Okay. And to, you know, use for going out to eat or getting some extra dinner or something, pizza night for the boys, special dinner for my husband, celebrating he's home or whatever, those kind of things. I definitely think that is more reasonable, and that should be more appropriate to have for the spending category. And so the rest of that money that I didn't use out of this category is just basically going back into the checking account as whatever whatever we want to use it for, and can be put into savings. So let's go ahead and do miscellaneous. Miscellaneous had a leftover of $168.20, and then gasoline had $63.03. That's reasonable. I think that's really good. I'm more comfortable with those numbers than I would be carrying that big number over. I just, once I saw it and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So these are the spending categories. This is what I'm giving myself permission to spend this weekend until the first of the month. This is what we're tithing. This is another tithing. So these are all the bills we really have to cover and expenses. So this is all there is to it, because everything else basically is just savings. So what I do want to do, and I'm budgeting out here, and we'll see what I do actually, but what I want to do is put away about $2,000 for home improvements. So that's what I'm going to put here. Home improvements. Home improve savings. All right. So this is going to be $2,000. Oh, that's 200. I am just not writing well today. And there we go with the eraser again. Let's see if this other eraser will help. That's okay. Okay, so this is $2,000. All right, and then so that tells me what I have what I've categorized and what I've compartmentalized out of this pay. Now I need to take these numbers and find out what is left that I could put towards the emergency fund. So the last thing I'm going to set up is 3-month emergency fund. And I have $9,000 or so in there, $9,060 put in. And I want to fill in some of those lines. I want to fill it full and set it up good. So let's see because what I want to do is kind of get to zero, including these spending categories. We do have money to spend, but I want the budget to zero here, even though at the end of the month, there will be money left over if we don't spend all this money in the spending categories. So these are like cash envelopes to me. That's just kind of how I run them. But I don't use cash. I use my debit card. So tracking them this way makes a lot more sense for me, because that's a lot of cash to carry around. And I hate carrying cash around. All right, so we have, let's see, we have $6,858.01 minus 310 minus 175 minus 80, 23 minus, oh, that's all negative number. That's not right. Let's try this again. All right, so we're going to start with the $6,858.01. We're going to take out the 310 tithing and the 175 and the 180.23. Oh, geez, Louise, I am not typing very well. All right, let's try this one more time. Take 3. All right, so let's start with how much we know is going to be in the checking account. $6,858.01. We're going to take out the $310 for the church and $175 for the Greater Europe Missions, and then $180.23 for a grocery household. We're going to have $188.54 for restaurants. We're going to have $168.20 for miscellaneous, and we're going to have $63.03 for gasoline. And then I'm going to take out $2,000 for the home improvement, and then that leaves us $3,773.01 for the emergency fund to add to our 3-month emergency fund, which is pretty significant considering we already have $9,060. Now, I may not put the change in. I may leave the change in checking and just transfer a whole number, which is fine. But that puts our emergency fund over $12,800. That is amazing. It'd been nice to be able to put that $2,000 in there, but I know we're going to have work done on the house. And why include it to the emergency fund if you know you need to spend it on things for the house? There's a few rooms that need to get painted, and then we have a front window that it just needs to be taken care of, and I need to call a contractor on that. So yeah, this looks amazing. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So let's go ahead and figure that out and make sure these numbers match. They should, because of the way I totaled them. So total expenses should match the total income. All right, so the total expenses match the total income, and we can definitely work with that. It's going to leave us 0 in the budgeting area, but that's fine because it's going into savings and emergency funds, and it's definitely helping me be less stressed going into the future, because I know next year, or at least a year and a half from now, we are planning to move and we have to sell our house. And if that's the direction the Lord takes us, and if that is the case, this 3-month emergency fund is definitely, we're going to try to get up to 6 months, but the 3-month for sure is definitely going to help offset any expenses that we need to take care of, and our bills will be covered. And that is the most important thing. We won't have to worry about any bills not being taken care of. Luckily, the only bills we really have, we have no loans. We just have a mortgage. So if we sell the house, you know, we're not going to have any bills. We need a place to live, so we have to pay utilities, but we'll either rent or buy another home. Hopefully we can buy another home and it'll work out well. So this is paycheck 3. So what I'm going to do is zoom out, close out this video, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Paycheck 2 is completely closed out. Paycheck 3 is set up. I have a game plan on what we're going to do. Will it change? Maybe a little bit, depending on if my husband has other things he wants or things that I have forgotten that we had talked about. But the main important compartments are already there. The tithing for the church, the tithing for the overtime to our favorite missionaries, and helping them, and then spending categories, and then what a starting savings for home improvement. If we need more, we'll have to use the emergency fund, but if we don't need more, then I'm just going to leave it there. And then 3-month emergency fund, we're going to add to that. So I will do a video on that, and yeah, we are good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.